Right. Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have seen how much from Unit 1 and Unit 2 is completed and how much is left. We saw there are three methods that are remaining for us to finish the first two units. And this is an adjusted class, but we can start with the basics first. But we need a complete 2 hours class to finish the overall procedure of the method. All right. How much ever we can do it today, we'll do it. All right. So I'll start sharing my screen with you now so that we can see what is left and what we are going to see today. Right. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yes. Now, in the previous class, I've mentioned what all subtopics have been completed. And in any of the topics, if you still have doubts, one complete session, we will look into doubts alone. All right. So today, we will start with the first three topics of our Unit 1. Which is a variational approach, Rayleigh-Ritz and Galerkin's method. All right, this three methods are there in your syllabus, which is about formulating the FEM. All right, formulating for finite elements. All right, from our first class, if you remember, I mentioned what is FEM all about. If you remember, can anybody, one of you can tell me what is the gist of what is finite element techniques actually? That will be helpful for us to go to this topic today. Any one of you? What is finite element method or finite element analysis?
Ma'am, Abdul
Yes.
Ma'am, finite element is used as analysis of different shapes of a different sections, ma'am.
Okay.
To for a what to say?
I think you didn't get the question properly, everyone. Hadi, you can mute yourself. Thank you for the answer. The question I'm asking is, we have seen what is finite elements, how finite elements is taken into consideration, and why finite elements is taken into consideration. Under that, I'm trying to ask you the word how. How is finite elements used? That is the basis for today's class. I'm asking for that question from our very first class. Any one of
Discretization.
there is exactly. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. Discretization, right? Discretization is about taking the complete element that we have structure and we are dividing it into small parts, and then later after dividing whatever the nodes or the nodal points that are there, we are trying to formulate or give them equations. All right, we are trying to derive equations for those points, solve those points, and ultimately reach to the overall solution. All right, so today the class what we are going to see is what are those methods which will help us in formulating the you can call that as equations, you can call that as the axis for the solution. Okay, how exactly do we formulate for the particular nodes or any particular structure? What are the methods that we have? See, in the very first class only, while seeing into the syllabus, I have mentioned prerequisites of the subject. All right, prerequisites indicate the knowledge that you require before learning the subject. All right, so under that we had the topics like TOS 2, TOS 1, numerical methods, differential calculus, all these things we had. All right. So all these methods take some of their parts into finite elements to create a formula or create an equation for individual nodes. So that we are going to see today. All right. Let's start with what all methods that are majorly there are compiled. Okay, compiled into 4 major methods. All right. First one is direct approach. You can note it down, please. First one is direct approach. Now, this direct approach is what we have done in all the other 3 classes till now. All right, taking directly the member, giving it unit displacement, deriving the matrix. Yes, who's that? Guys, if you are entering the meeting, make sure you keep yourself muted. If you have doubt or if you are unable to hear me or something, please raise your hand. Alauddin sir will help you to speak. All right. Please do not create disturbances in between. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The stiffness matrix derivation, what we have done till now, maybe for a beam or a bar or a truss element, all these type of approaches are considered as direct approach. All right. An element is taken, nodes are directly defined. Okay. Those type of approaches are all those types of methodologies in the next units, whatever we see, formulating using CST element, all these things comes into direct approach. All right. That's the first one. For us, as of now, to understand whatever we have finished till now, stiffness matrix also can be taken into direct approach methodology. All right. And the next one we have is the variational approach. That is what is there in there as the first topic in our syllabus. All right. Variational approach. Variational approach is completely your calculus. You have to have a good knowledge about numerical methods, differentiation, integration, all these things to take this into to use this methodology. All right. Variational approach uses either potential energy or the concept of variance. Anybody remember what is a variance from your mathematics? I hope everybody have cleared the subject. Anyone, what is a variance? Guys, did you leave the class or are you there?
There were.
All right, one of you please answer me, what is a variance? Really? None of you?
Forgot, ma'am.
Okay. All right. You can note it down. But however, when we look into the variational approach directly, I'll tell you about what is variance. But as a note of today, variance is the first derivative of a function, which is a function of a function. All right. This is a little bit confused part. Okay. If now with displacement, we have u. U is a function of x, y, z if it is a 3D member. All right. Now, if at all I have to consider an equation, force is equal to k into u. Now, force is a function of displacement. If at all I do differentiation for force, which is a function of displacement, this derivation of function, you're calling that as variance. All right. That topic, seriously, it is complicated. So that differentiation, integration of doing that, all these things comes into variational approach. All right. Variational approach also takes potential energy concept into it to give us a formula or the equation to solve different structures. All right. Now, the topic what we have, Rayleigh-Ritz method, comes into variational approach. All right. The next one we have is weighted residual approach. All right, weighted residual indicates. See, when we do integration or not differentiation, when we do integration, when there is single digit terms are there, we end up with a constant. All right, or we can call it as a reminders. All right, that that is called a residual or weighted a term that is left as an extra term in it. All right, when such things are taken into consideration or a new constant is added to the member and then formulated, that is called weighted residual. This is a complicated topic to understand, but when we do the problem, we can try, a little bit effort is needed to understand this topic.
Sai Kumar raised the hand, madam.
Oh, okay, sir. I'll look into it. Yes, Sai Kumar, you can speak.
మ్యామ్ ఇది నెట్వర్క్ ఇష్యూ వల్ల లాగిన్ ఇప్పుడైనా మ్యామ్ అంటే అటెండెన్స్ తీసుకున్నారా ఆ లింక్ ఓపెన్ కాలే మ్యామ్ అంటే ఇది చాలా అంటే టైం తీసుకుంది
All right. At the end of the class, however, I'll take attendance again.
ఓకే మ్యామ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ
Not an issue.
ఓకే మ్యామ్
Okay. All right. We'll continue. See, in our syllabus, Rayleigh-Ritz method and Galerkin's method are the two methods that are mentioned specifically. All right. Now, the Rayleigh-Ritz method, which we have, which is mentioned, comes under variational approach, variational type of methodology for formulating. Rayleigh-Ritz method comes into this approach, whereas Galerkin's method comes into weighted residual approach. All right. This both methods are given much importance in formulating for various types of problems in FEM, other than the direct approach we have as of stiffness or something. Other than direct approach, how much importance is given to this one? The equal importance is given for variational approach or the weighted residual approach. That is why it is clearly the two topics are mentioned, Rayleigh-Ritz and Galerkin's. When you are trying to formulate for different elements, which we see in the next coming classes, we divide our big structure into smaller elements. All right. So every element has its own properties to be solved. So we take individual approach depending upon the ease of solving the element. All right. And you can note down a variational approach. Rayleigh-Ritz method comes into variational approach. Galerkin's method comes into weighted residual approach. All right. And the final one we have is energy balance approach. We are not looking into this. All right. BTech level. We are not going to come into this part of approach. All right. So maximum, maximum, we are going to look into these three types of methods only. All right. If at all extra knowledge is given to you, you'll lose what topic is required for the class. All right. We'll go for the first methodology. What we are looking into today is Rayleigh-Ritz approach. As I already said you, what is where Rayleigh-Ritz method comes into which category or the which type of approach?
Variational approach.
Variational.
All right. Now, variational approach. The reason behind taking the Rayleigh-Ritz method or something, in the very first class we have seen, in field, when we go in field, we will have problems with complex geometries. We will have complex general boundary and loading conditions. So when there is a combination like this, we have a complex shape, and we have defined or general kind of boundaries and general loading. That is also a risk. If we have a normal geometry but complex boundaries or complex loading conditions, at that time also the reaching to the solution is much difficult. That is what we have seen in the previous sessions. But when it is this kind of problems we have, which are actually there in the field, to obtain the solutions is like next to impossible. But we are not telling it is not possible. So what we do is we go for approximate solutions. I said you finite element methods will not give you exact solutions. It will form exact equations. All right, exact derivations or equations are formed, but the result out of that exact equations will not be a exact solution for the problem. It will be an approximate solution. So we will take a plus or minus conditions to understand what is the exact solution. All right, we will reach at least to that point where we can understand that okay, this type of problem will give such type of output. All right, so approximate methods are adopted. Now why are we going for this approximate solutions is we have to understand when approximate solutions methods are taken into account, they are not as strict as our classic methods. Simple, I'll tell you, if at all a is equal to b is equal to 2, classical method, it has to be that way. All right, there is nothing like equivalent, 1.99 can be equivalently taken as 2. That constraints is not considered in classical method, whereas when we are taking it as when it comes into approximate methods, some some lenience is given. All right, now approximate solution methods, you can see what all is taken into consideration. Potential energy comes into approximation method. Variance, taking variance into account and solving it will also come under approximation method. Weighted residual methods also comes into approximation methods. So the thing is, we take these type of methods to solve the problem is just that we could at least reach to that approximate solution. All right, we saw there are 3 types of element properties that can be taken into account to find the approximate solution. Now when we are looking into Rayleigh-Ritz method, which comes under variational approach, takes potential energy, it considers the potential energy to formulate the elemental properties. Elemental properties means for the nodes, whatever the equation we take down, or for the element, whatever equation we formulate, Rayleigh-Ritz method adopts the concept of potential energy. All right, see, potential energy concept is not new for us. All right, we have seen from our second year, we are seeing what is potential energy, how is it taken into consideration, what happens when the load is applied against the gravity or towards the gravity, how do we formulate potential energy is not new. All right, as you forgot what is variance, let me ask you, what is potential energy? Anyone, if at all you can define what is potential energy for me, that will be helpful.
The energy which is possessed by a body because of its
It's what?
What because of the
of its motion.
Sorry?
Because of its virtue of motion, potential energy.
Okay, because of its virtue of motion. All right. Is it what you also wanted to tell?
Yes, ma'am. Because
The
of
energy possessed the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position is called potential energy, ma'am.
Guys, who is speaking? Please let me know.
I'm Javeria, ma'am. 2041.
Yes, Javaria. Yes, tell.
The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position is called potential energy.
Okay, one answer. Very well and good. The other two also gave the same one. Any simplified versions of definition for potential energy? I don't want to work about the whole virtual thing. If any simple approach or how you understand the concept of potential energy, if anyone knows, fine. If not, see, I'm giving you another type of definition here. Simple, as simple, because we will work on this. So that is why we will work in the way how it is formulated. Can this also be taken into account? Potential energy is the capacity to do work by the forces acting on deformable bodies. Because our concept is all about deformations, displacements, external loads acting, body forces acting on the structure, here the potential energy what we are considering is its capacity to do work. It's as simple as that. What you said is also right. I'm not telling it is wrong. That is the basic potential energy what we know. All right. But generally when we have to think about, it is the capacity to do work by the forces acting. Now, when I speak about the forces acting in the body can be external forces or the internal forces. Or to be very specific, for the internal forces, I can call that as internal stresses that are produced in the body. All right. See, internal stresses are produced. See, when will the stress come into picture? When some load is applied to the body, then only the resistance that is offered by the body, we are calling that as stress. All right. So the combination of these two, how the forces are acting to the member and how the member is reacting to the force, both of things comes into account when we are going for the potential energy. All right. So the forces acting on the body can be classified as internal forces or external forces. So what I'll do, both the things I'll take into consideration and I'll make this equation. Total potential energy is equal to internal plus external energies. That I can consider. Internal potential energy plus external potential energy. Or to simplify it more, the work done due to the external forces plus the capacity or the work done due to the internal stresses combined together, I'm calling that as the total potential energy of the body. Is it clear till now? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. See, now we will denote the potential energy as phi. This is not new. If it is new, I should be wondered why it is so. All right. Potential energy will denote it by pi, and there is already a definition given to it. The total potential energy of an elastic body is defined as the sum of total strain energy U and the work potential WP. Ever heard this definition of potential energy? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
No. Wow. No, that cannot happen. This topic is already being done in the previous subjects which you have seen. All right. See, when I mentioned you internal potential energies plus external potential energies indicates internal whatever is happening, internal stresses, the work done due to the internal stresses or what the energy is stored internally, that comes under strain energy part. I hope you understand the capacity that is happening inside the body. We are calling that as strain energy stored in the body. All right. Or the resistance that is offered by the body, we are calling that as strain energy, which is internal. When it is about the work done due to the external forces, that is work potential. All right, whatever it may be. See, we are seeing a 3D body here. In the very first class, when we saw the 3D body has a surface traction acting, point loads were there, body forces were there. So all these are tending to deform the structure. And then we have the stresses acting internally due to these applied loads. So the internal stresses that are acting can be taken into account as total strain energy, and the potential energy due to the body force externally or the point loads that are being acting, or the surface traction that are acting, all these comes under work potential, which is the external potential energy created. You please note down this definition. We can denote it like this and take that as equation number 1. Total potential energy of an elastic body is defined as the sum of total strain energy and the work potential. Let me know when you're done, please.
Done.
I heard only air coming out. I don't know whoever it is.
Done, ma'am.
Rest all? Okay, I got 2 yeses. Alright. Now, if at all, because it is new for you, because you're telling it is new, which is not supposed to be the right answer, by the way. The potential energy has two components here. One is strain energy and the other one is work potential. All right. So for the structure, what we have or what we are considering, we should be able to define a U separately, WP separately, and then combine it together to find out the total formation of the potential energy formula, or the formulation, how it is taken for the structure. We need to find those two individually. All right, so let's do that. We will try to find out what is the U for the structure separately, what is WP for the structure separately. All right, now when I'm talking about the elastic body, what is the first thought we get, or the first thing that comes into our mind when we speak about elastic body? Anyone?
Hooke's law.
No, I'm talking about an element or a structure, which is one type of element that will come into our mind when we are talking about elastic body. See, if at all I have to give an example of an elastic body, which would be that one?
Rubber.
Rubber. All right. Any other answer? Good one.
Ball, madam.
No, we are talking about complete element, Chandana here. See, I'm asking you, if at all I have to take an example. All right, let me tell you the answer. You have to think little out, complete in the box. What is elastic body? When we give the force, it will and leave it. It comes back to it, or to its original state. All
Ma'am,
right?
gas.
Sorry?
గ్యాస్ మనం కంప్రెస్ చేస్తే మళ్ళీ ఒరిజినల్ స్టేట్ కి వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా ఎయిర్.
See, we are trying. Oh, okay, I am good with the answer. What I'm trying to tell you is, we are talking about elements to which we can formulate. All right. When I tell you the answer, you will not. How come we forgot this kind of a thing? Expression would come. It is a spring. It is a spring. See, a spring, we will have 2 nodes on the either sides. When we pull it or when we push it, either you give a tensile type of load for it or an compression type of load to it, it tends back to its original state. The best example for a structural thing, all right, which has the elemental properties, a structural point of view, when we can see, when we have to define or formulate, the best element that we can take into consideration is a spring element. All right, so when we have to did you get the point why I'm talking about a spring?
Yes, ma'am.
We can have a specific length for it. All right, a specific metallic properties for it. All right, all these constraints can be directly taken when it is about a spring. And when we talk the concept, the base concept of stiffness, the K value, stiffness directly when they have to actually start the concept of stiffness itself, the first thing what we get to know is about a spring only. Stiffness is equal to the topic comes into spring. All right. So when we are looking into that, when we have to find out the internal stresses and the work potential of the member, first what we do is, as we did for the bar element, we will consider the spring element first. All right. We will try to find out the value of potential energy for a spring and then apply that concept to our 3D body, whatever we have. All right. Got the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you the question. The concept of stiffness you must have started in your structure analysis only. That is maybe theory of structures 1 itself. All right. What is stiffness? So when stiffness was explained to you, is it not explained through the concept of springs?
Ma'am, it was explained through springs.
Okay, it's clear.
It was explained by the concept of spring only, ma'am.
That is what. Then when I'm talking about when we are taking an elastic body, spring is the best example to go with. All right. So what we'll do here is we will divide our formulation into two subtopics. First one would be potential energy in a spring. All right. We will derive what is the potential energy in the spring, take this concept and go forward for the 3D body, what we were seeing till now. All right, 3D elemental volume or 3D surface, 3D body for which the surface traction body forces are all applied. That will look into picture. For today, I think we have to stop the class here because it's only 10:08. All right, tomorrow, because we have about 2 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes we have tomorrow. So what we'll do, you people have to be ready with your calculators specifically, and you need to be a little bit fast. There are many equations coming into the field now. No, finite elements is going to take its race. All right, it's all about equations and derivations. So you need to be very fast, and please brush yourselves with the concept of calculus and differentiation, chain rules and differentiation, integrations. Brush yourselves in that, because when we are formulating all these concepts, basic concepts is necessary. All right. In the next coming class, that is tomorrow, whatever class we have from 9:30, we will derive Rayleigh-Ritz method, how it is formulating for the element. For the spring element first, then we'll go for the 3D body. After we are done with this, the concept of Rayleigh-Ritz, we are going to solve the problem based on Rayleigh-Ritz method. After we do that, there is an exact question of Rayleigh-Ritz method in your previous FEM paper. That is the immediate seniors who had finite elements. That was the first time they had the core subject. All right. First question itself, a compulsory question that is given, is directly given for the Rayleigh-Ritz method. So we are going to solve that problem also tomorrow if time permits, if not in the later class, but we are going to solve that problem. Keep calculators ready and be fast in writing down the equations. All right. For today, what all we learned, please understand, try to understand the concepts of potential energy. If there are any further doubts in this particular topic of potential energy, you make sure you note down your doubts, and that will look into tomorrow's class. All right. I'm stopping the record. I'll share the screen and then take the attendance. Right. I'm taking the attendance for today. Once again, I have 86 attendees by the time I took the attendance now at 11:10. All right. Please tomorrow make sure you are present in the class before 9:35 itself. All right. Waiting for you for 5 minutes and then for attendance and other thing for other 5 minutes, we are losing 10 minutes of our class. I don't want that to be done. All right. I'll see you in the next class tomorrow. And thank you. Thank you, Alauddin sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.